How's it going, guys? GamerDX here, and I want to do something a little bit different tonight. This is a game that I played quite a lot of over the past year or so. It's called Summoner's War. It's a free-to-play monster collection RPG by Com2uS on both Android and iOS. And instead of doing a first look style video, this time I'm going to just play a brand new fresh account. And for those who are not familiar with this game, I'll casually go over a few core mechanics as I'm playing the game. But for the most part, I'll just be chilling out here, progressing through the starting points of the game, and I'll probably do some summons at the end of the video here. So right now I'm just going into scenario mode with the 3 starter monsters that every new account gets right off the bat, and that includes the Water Fairy, the Fire Hellhound, and the Wind Vagabond. So there's a type triangle going on here. Water over fire, fire over wind, and wind over water. Wind is the yellow, water obviously is the blue, and fire is the red. You'll see these triangles, green triangle, or not triangle, but a green arrow over a monster who has a type disadvantage versus the one that I'm using. So right now my fairy is up for her turn, and she has a typing advantage, water over that fire boar as well as the fire mushroom on the left. So she will be doing bonus damage there. And almost done with this one. I think after this match is done, I'm going to run in and briefly explain skills and how some of them work. Accounts already leveled up. And I got a rune reward, and I'll explain those as well. So, the game's tutorial is going to have me equip this rune here real fast. I'll explain what it's talking about right here. So, each monster has 6 rune slots that you can equip. There's over 20 different types of runes, maybe even 30, something like that. And each type of rune have different set bonus effects, meaning if you equip enough of the same type of rune, it will give you a bonus effect. So here I have 2 energy runes, and having 2 energy runes causes the energy set effect, which gives plus 15% to HP on that monster. So if we go over here to info, you can see the base stats over on the left show that she has 1,815 base health, and then she's having that amplified by 311 by those energy runes. And real quick, we'll take a look at a few monster skills here. We'll look at the Hellhound skills. So usually the skill on the farthest left is the skill you can use every turn with your monsters. I believe that's the case with every single monster in the game. And that's going to be considered the basic attack. Some basic attacks have special effects attached to them. This one, for example, will have a lifesteal effect where you recover 30% of the inflicted damage as health. Very cool. And then his second skill is going to have a cooldown of 3 turns, and that will vary by the monster and by the skill. And it's just a higher damage dealing attack, doesn't have any kind of special effect going on with it. There is a awakening mechanic in this game where you infuse essences into your monsters and you can awaken them. That changes their name, it changes how they look. You'll get a bit of an art change there. I believe this guy gets like more spikes, and he just looks generally more badass. And he'll also gain this new skill here, which increases attack power and critical rate of all allies for 3 turns. That's a very powerful group buff to get in the early game. So definitely worth awakening this guy if you are struggling for units in the early game especially. As for these other 2, I would say these 2 are lesser priority monsters. As you get further into the game, you'll find ones that replace them and do what they do, only better. So we won't get too far into what they do. Have a lot of challenges and achievements that you'll just passively complete as you're working through the scenario and the arena and the dungeons. Also, a quick way to level up. I think I'll level up again right here. Yep. And just like that, we are account level 4 already. Let's see. There's a certain little tutorial event I'm waiting for to happen so we can get on some summons, but we'll just progress through the first stages here until we get to that point. Here I'm just going to use auto battle, makes things go a lot faster. I'm not concerned about losing in these first few stages here. It might be impossible actually to lose in these first few stages. These monsters are just so weak. This game's really stood the test of time when it comes to popularity. I think the game population maybe not be at its peak anymore, but it's certainly extremely sprawling still. If you look up there, and the chat is just going off as it always does. And there's actually hundreds of channels that are just like that, just constant active chat. A lot of people play this game. A lot of people like this game. I think one of the reasons is one of the more popular of the Monster Collection games is the fact that it's so well polished. It's so often updated. There's lots of constant events going on. It just has a general clean feel. Doesn't feel cluttered at all. And it's very deep. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to the meta and optimizing, and just if you're a fan of min-max games, oh man, you can have some fun with this one. It's almost endless potential to min-max your characters in this game with the various runes, etc. And just team synergy, team builds, different things you can do if you have the right combination of units. This game also recently got an art update. All these little fodder units used to look a lot clunkier and had less polygons than they do now. Very cool that they care about upgrading aspects of the game like that, even to this day. A little bit repetitive here at first. Honestly, this whole game has a lot of repetition to it. It's definitely the type of game for people who don't mind the grind. There is a lot of grind to be the best in this game, absolutely. And if you're the type to get bored easy, this might not be the game for you. But if you are a fan, like I said, of the min-max game, and you don't mind the grind, then you're in for a lot of fun. I might lose this one. Let's see. Nah, never mind. We do too much damage. You see that little red box over the enemy there? It's called a debuff. And there are several different types of debuffs in the game. It's just something that for the next turn or 2 turns, sometimes up to 3 or more turns, they'll have an effect on them or a counter effect on them that gives you an advantage. Certain monsters come equipped with skills that will apply debuff effects. For example, my Wind Vagabond, the dude with the sword, has a defense break and an attack break on each of his 2 different skills. So those are both really useful moves, especially for bosses. You don't want that boss hitting you too hard. You also want to melt his HP bar as much as possible. Debuffs are the way to go in this game. Definitely a big fan of the art style. These little mushroom guys remind me a lot of the mushrooms in MapleStory. That was a game I played a lot back in the grade school days, years ago. And just the overall aesthetic of the game is really pleasing for me. That's well, I don't want to call this a good rune by any means, but it's for just starting the game, that's not too bad. That'll get me off to a decent start. Especially if I find a monster whose damage scales on defense, which is the case sometimes. All the monsters have unique skill sets and unique attributes that make them different from one another. There's not a whole lot of monsters that are exactly like other monsters. They do a really good job of diversifying that, making sure every monster has its place, even if it's a rare thing. It's always fun to experiment with monsters that have very specific niches, and I know there are some YouTubers that like to make highlight videos on how to use particular monsters that people might just overlook or not want to put the time into optimizing for. And that's the boss clear right there. We'll be getting a reward for clearing this zone. And there's your reward. This is the Light Elven Ranger. He's a 3-star unit. 3-star units are fairly common. 4-star units are pretty rare. 5-star units are extremely rare. Some people even go months at a time without getting a 5-star unit. I'm sure there have been cases of people going up to a year of playing the game without ever rolling a 5-star unit. And that sucks for them, but it happens. Alright, so now we're going to get the arena unlocked. Afterwards, we're going to get the $5 starter pack. This is a game where pay to win is a thing. Sorry to say, but it's also a very generous game for free-to-play players. There are plenty of opportunities to get mystical scrolls, crystals, all the things you would need to summon the best monsters in the game. You'll have plenty of chances to do so the longer you play. So we're going to dive into the arena right here. Hopefully we won't have too much trouble taking these guys out. And then we'll check out that starter pack and get some summons going. It might have been a good idea to put my Light Elven Ranger in this group just to make sure I win this fight on auto. I'm not sure if I even will. We got Harry. I think we got it though. Wow. Yep, we got it. Alright. Now that that's done, there'll be a little bit more dialogue here. Can't tell I've started new accounts several times just to experiment, and I kind of know how this early game goes down. As soon as I hit this complete button, it's going to set my arena defense, and then it's going to pop up my option to purchase my starter pack. There are two options. The one on the left there is a $5 one. That's the one I usually go for. The one on the right gives you a guaranteed 4-star with the legendary scroll. It can sometimes be a 5-star. I think the rates for legendary scrolls when they were released, it's something like between 5 and 15% chance on a legendary scroll to actually get a 5-star monster. I believe it's 15%, and then 4-star otherwise. I'm gonna go for the one on the left though. It's only $5. You get 2 mystical scrolls and 150 crystals. 75 crystals is equal to a mystical scroll, so I can actually summon with crystals if I wanted to, and I'm going to. I'm going to use both mystical scrolls, and I'm going to use all 150 crystals, and we're going to be summoning 4 3-star minimum monsters. Hopefully we'll get lucky and roll some 4 or 5 stars. Alright, and here we go. Go to my gift box. Mystical scrolls, crystals, more crystals, some mana. I'm going to go ahead and leave my Light Elven Ranger and my Light Garuda, which I got from the arena, in there for now, until I'm ready to use them. Yeah, let's just jump right into the summons. Waste no time. The mystical scrolls and mystical summons are the same thing in terms of rates and chances to get monsters. Some people would argue otherwise, but Com2uS has specifically stated multiple times that these have the exact same rates. I personally have pulled better monsters with crystals, but other people have had better luck with mystical scrolls. It's all up to random chance. So we're going to do the scrolls first. And we're getting a 3-star monster this time. I know this because there was no lightning effect around the summon. And you'll know when you're going to get a 4 or 5-star because that stuff will freak out. And another 3-star here. Lizard Man. And for our crystal summons, another 3-star. Looks like we're not going to be lucky this time. However, the Water Battle Mammoth is a very useful monster, so that'll be fun to use. And for our last summon for now, and a 4th 3-star. Well, that's just how it goes. So we got a Water High Elemental. Alright, well we got some stuff to work with at least now. I'll definitely be prioritizing this Battle Mammoth. It's a very powerful early mid-game unit. Just by having him in my leader skill slot, my whole team, as long as they're water type, will have a 30% boost to defense. That's pretty nice. So I can have him with her, with this guy here. Have a freeze theme going on my team if I wanted to. Alright, that's Summoner's War, and I'll be back later on with another video continuing this adventure with this new account, playing with the units that I drew there. And hopefully you guys will check the game out if you like what you see. If this is not your cup of tea, I totally understand. But for those who enjoy the Monster Collection genre, this is as good as it comes. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon.